into the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Good evening, fellow Face-Off fans. Welcome to Season 10, Episode 11, The Art of Warcraft. I am your host, Alana Jordan, and joining me, as always, is the phenomenal
Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet at Emma Fyffe, which is my name.
And we're very excited because we have one of our Face-Off models joining us today.
Hi there.
Hello, thank you for joining us. This is Kerstin Lechner here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah. And where can we find you on Instagram?
My name is Kerstin Lechner 100.
Nice.
Pretty simple, I guess.
You just add the 100 to the end of your
exactly,
name.
Yeah,
It makes it more epic that way.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm all about it. I like to think of it as like the 100 emoji.
Yes. That's
Just
exactly
add
what
it
it is.
in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's simple. Simple.
Yep. Speaking of high scores, be sure to rate us and subscribe. Check us out, YouTube, iTunes. We have hundreds of after shows here on AfterBuzz TV. We want you guys to get hooked up with all of them. But let's jump right into this episode. Oh, such a cool one.
It was great.
Really cool.
I am a huge World of Warcraft fan. I know Emma has known me for several years.
Yes, I have known you for several years, and I knew Alana all through her playing Warcraft in the break room every opportunity she got.
Oh, yeah. So this was just, I was full Melissa this episode. I was like, everything is going to be amazing.
Yes.
So this episode was all based on World of Warcraft. Of course, the new Warcraft movie is going to be coming out, which I'm super excited about.
With effects by Weta Digital and also Weta Studios, who did all of the practical stuff for the Lord of the Rings films. And actually, a fan of mine works for Weta, and so he messaged me right before San Diego Comic-Con last year and said, hey, you got to make sure that you go over to the Weta Workshop booth to check out the Warcraft stuff. And I was like, the what now?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the Warcraft movie came out of nowhere. Like, maybe I'm alone in this.
Okay, I knew that they were making it just because of Reddit fans being like, this is happening, it's very quiet, but it's happening. And it just kind of snuck up on us. It's going to be directed by Duncan Jones, and it's going to be pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
And I love when they do bring in, like, Weta. They're going to have the next episode is actually all based on Skull Island and on King Kong, which is also Weta Workshop. So a little bit of Weta left and right. They even brought in the senior art director for Warcraft, Chris Robinson, who was helping out all of the contestants, which was pretty cool. They were given their different classes, their different races that they have throughout the game, all the way up to I stopped playing at Lich King, but I was excited when they had the Pandarians and everything. I was like,
it was cool.
Yeah.
I know. I was a little disappointed. Because like the Pandar, nobody made that one though. You know?
No.
I was like, well, but it looks like a cute little red panda. And
it would have been adorable.
They like to party. Like, that's basically what it boils down to.
Much like the people who play Warcraft, nobody picked that one.
Yeah.
It was right when Pandaria came out. Everyone played that for like a minute and then went back to their original characters.
Yes.
But for this one, we did have a few really big Warcraft fans. I know Walter's all about it.
Yeah.
Who was pumped. Melissa was all about it.
Yeah.
She was excited. She was so excited.
I love it.
I think she was so excited, it got into her head for a second.
Oh, I agree.
Right? Because
Yeah.
when you're really excited in life about stuff, you're all of a sudden like, oh my God, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. And then all of a sudden, boom, everything clashes and you don't really get it together at time.
Yeah.
You bite off a little more than you can chew.
I
That
totally
can happen.
agree. Yeah, it was super interesting to see the different effects of being so enthusiastic and so emotionally invested in this challenge between Melissa and Walter. Because I feel like it affected them in totally different ways.
Well, what I thought was really interesting, diving right into the makeups, Mel was so nervous from the beginning. Felt like she was gonna. Yeah,
I agree with you 100%. I feel like I have no idea about Warcraft,
Right.
Warzone, whatever that is, and I'm just looking at it and it's like, oh my god, I have no clue what that is. But I felt like she was so like on point with everything she did, and she just took directions very well. And at the end of the day, I mean, we saw what she did. I mean, the body paint was just beautiful. The red hair, stunning.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Loved it.
I mean, what Mel did looked just like the goblins out of the game. And I mean, and part of the challenge was because, you know, one of the things that they're doing, if you ever played World of Warcraft, the characters are very, very cartoony.
Yeah.
It's part of the appeal of the game, is this very, very stylized, bright, cartoonish kind of universe. And in the movie, they're kind of like dialing it all back a little bit. So we're not going to see any like shoulder pads that are the size of a small car.
even though I do love those.
I know, no, they're great. They're so great. They're so great. I would have been 100% fine with them just, you know, going completely in the direction of just making it totally literal, which is what Mel's makeup was.
Mel, yeah, she had the troll, and she ended up making exactly from the game the troll. But what I love so much about her interaction, and this episode showing us a little bit of the behind the scenes of her asking a billion questions.
I know.
Just like, okay, Chris, here's the deal. I don't play this game. What's up with the hair? What the hair seems to be big.
No, Mel was amazing.
Absolutely.
People are using all of their loot. They're cashing in armor to change their hairstyle. What are these options? What is happening?
It was really great. And I love that as she went through all of her questions about the trolls, she was like, okay, I'm really glad I wrote all those questions down.
Because I would have remembered it.
So cute.
The trolls, it was just so funny too, because they're the most laid back characters in the game.
And
Mel was just like the opposite of the troll.
Yep.
Sweet.
Definitely. And in general, not the most laid back contestant on this show, which is what is so delightful about her, because she does kind of have this frantic energy, but like it totally paid off this week.
And you could tell that her passion and her being excited that she had gotten the immunity last week.
Right.
She was holding herself up to a whole new standard and was like, okay, I'm going into this.
Yeah.
Not really knowing all the details. I will do everything I can to get those details and to make sure that it translates.
Yeah.
And
to get into the finale too. She's probably like on it. She's like, oh my god, I want to win that.
Yeah.
But she did so well. I loved it.
And that
really did.
hair.
The hair was so great.
It was so good. And the fact that she hand laid all of that hair, starting from the back, working all the way up, and she's like, give me some time to kind of find my groove.
Well, and again, she took a very smart approach to it, where she's like, I know I am terrible at laying hair, so I'm going to start with the back.
Yeah.
Is she really?
Yeah. Yeah,
that.
she said, she's like, I'm really terrible at laying hair, so I'm going to start at the back of the head, and I'm going to build up to the top, because by the time I get to the front, I'll have gotten in the groove.
Interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
It was really cool, too, because they brought in Rob Kaczynski as a guest judge. Who, I know, right? Swoon.
Kirsten is all about him.
I was all about him. I was like, who is that guy? I've never seen him before. And, you know, the red hair. Oh, my God. I was backstage just like, oh.
I was going to say, are you happy that you were not modeling on this one? Do you feel that his presence would have affected your performance?
I probably would not be able to say anything, not even perform. I'd just stand there and be like, please talk to me. Just talk more to me. Please talk more to me.
I love, though, he gave such a great insight, because
and honest.
Not only,
he was really honest. Yeah.
I mean, for somebody who played the game professionally for a year, like 16 hours a day, seeing these characters, he knows what's brought to life. And he even mentioned that for Mel's character, it's probably the hardest character to do.
Yeah.
Which nobody was really pointing out. So I was like, go, Rob.
Well, because and one of the things too about the troll character, you know, that I believe it was Neville brought up, said he's like, it is. I mean, she just totally executed a very classic troll silhouette. I mean, she just she took what was in the game and she made it a real thing.
I mean, let's talk about the paint job for a second. How great was the paint job?
Oh,
the
so
blue
good.
and the greens together. I mean, that looked so solid.
Yep. And again, could have been very flat and cartoony,
Exactly.
but she shaded it in such a way that you would believe that that was this person's, I use the term loosely, skin color.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real troll.
Yeah.
No edges. There were no edges on the side. It was just flawless. It was really nice.
Yeah.
I loved it. I could definitely see it in the movie.
Yeah.
It looked like
Me
it
too.
walked straight out of the game and just into the real world. So props to Mel, showing everybody why she definitely
We
deserves
love you.
that immunity. Another top look that thought he was going to be a bottom look. Now, I consistently have agreed with the judges this season. I gotta say, when it comes to Rob's Torin character, I think he would even agree with me. This should not have been a top look.
No, it should have been safe.
It
for
should have been
sure.
safe.
But I mean, this is the thing: is technically speaking, it was a very well executed makeup. I mean, this is what totally the hot.
Rob Kaczynski?
Rob Kaczynski, exactly.
Other Rob?
I was like the Australian guy from Pacific Rim.
I thought he was Irish for a second.
He was on the Australian team in Pacific Rim, the like team that piloted the Australia. Okay,
Wherever you're
nope.
from, darling.
Okay.
It doesn't
He's
matter.
from our wildest dreams and now resides in our hearts forever.
I was also about to call it a Guy Melif, which is from Evangelion. So the Jaegers, that's what they're called.
Jaegers.
There you go. Hello. Anyway, I'm just so distracted because he's so attractive. But like that was the thing was he even brought up that because like the judges are like, oh, it was so great, it was so beautiful, and he's like, this does not look like the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, which cracked me up because he was like, I feel like Simon Cowell. And I was like, or Simon Cowell-less.
Well, I mean, that was the problem.
He scrapped the cowl and then it didn't look like the character anymore.
Yeah.
It looked like which Rob even says. He's like, I feel like Rob talking about his own makeup,
Yes.
not guest Rob.
Not guest Rob.
When he was like, I hate this. It looks like a cow person. It's like a weird werewolf teddy bear thing, which I think was a bit harsh on himself, but it did look like Cowman. It didn't have it didn't even have the ring in the center. It didn't have any.
I was missing that. I wish he would have done that, and maybe some of the some piercings on the ears. Maybe something was missing.
Yeah.
But that's why I love it. I love his designs. I love the way he is. But I wish he would just believe in himself just a little bit more.
I wish that they had kind of showed them too, not just the characters, but the environment that they're in. Because if you see this character, they're set up a very Native American style, like teepees and things. It's supposed to be a very decorated character. It's supposed to have all of these pieces of jewelry, all of these things. It's not just decoration. It's part of the culture of this race of being.
Yeah.
Which, because they didn't really explain that, and Rob didn't really play the game, he was like, it's a cow person, we'll make a cow person.
Yeah.
You know what was really interesting? It was the two sort of, again, it's the two sides of people being really emotionally invested, really being fans of the games, and the people who are like, I don't play World of Warcraft, I don't know anything about this universe. And so you have Mel on the one hand who's like, I'm gonna learn everything I possibly can in the 20 minutes that I have, and I'm gonna make exactly what I see. And then you have Rob getting a little more defeated at every turn in some ways because he's not familiar with the game.
Yeah, and just kind of feeling like he was missing the mark and that it was too late really to ask the questions, I feel. Because Chris came in, but it was at the very, very beginning that he was getting this feedback of what is this world.
Yeah.
So unless you pulled a Mel and you wrote out all your questions and you knew exactly what to ask from the very beginning, you know, you start working on things and you go,
I don't have enough time.
dang.
And I also think that, you know, some of it is Rob and Mel coming at it from literally completely opposite sides of the spectrum of Rob being, you know, winning every freaking challenge on the show and Mel having just almost been eliminated.
Yeah.
So the stakes are kind of higher for her, and I think Rob
Don't
was...
say steak. We're talking about cow people.
Oh, yikes. Yikes. But I think that Rob, you know, was resting on his laurels a little bit and went, I really did not put the pre-work into this that I needed to, and now I am overwhelmed.
Did he actually finish the horns?
No, he was gonna have a complete horn, and
it broke off, right?
And a half horn. No, the one was intentionally broken, but basically when he went to pour the silicone or whatever he was molding the horns out of,
he didn't have enough.
Correct.
Yeah. He didn't make enough, and it was the end of the day, so it was too late to make any more.
Yeah.
And what do? I mean, you have to just let it sit.
You gotta do something.
Can't just break back into the lab and make more and mix it in the middle of the night.
Knock on the door, excuse me.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, that would be funny though.
Face off after hours, just like covert operations going in to make
it's like
these
Mission
horns.
Impossible. They like scale in through the ceiling.
And they play the music in the background.
Yep.
They're like, they're gonna find us if you keep playing this music.
Is playing really loudly.
But I thought it was a good look. But I agree, it didn't fit this challenge.
Yeah.
And that's what Rob Kaczynski even said.
Yeah.
He said, you have enormous talent,
Yeah.
but I just don't think it's accurate.
Yep.
And I feel like the judges, because they are so enamored by Rob and his talent,
totally
kind of give him more of a pass than anyone else.
Yeah, I think so too.
I feel like if it had been the same makeup, but someone else had done it, I think they would have torn into it a little bit more.
Don't you feel like you're missing the fierceness of that specific character that he did? It felt more like a baby cow to me. It didn't feel like a warrior to me or somebody that I'm afraid of. You know, I felt like I don't know, like I'm not really scared of you. You know?
Yeah.
It felt more like baby cow.
Baby cow. It was a little too veal, not enough
exactly.
fear.
Thank you.
Yeah. I need a little more of that like bull quality about
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Well,
unfortunately.
I think just scrapping the cow, because that was such the definitive thing. We talk about, in cosplay and things, the tells.
The tell, yeah.
And the tell for this character is the big hunch, the nose piece, and the added jewelry bits. And he didn't have any of it.
Yeah, I agree.
So while it was a great piece,
good makeup, but
it wasn't for this
Correct.
challenge.
Absolutely.
I almost felt like maybe if he would have done a little bit of a gag, like smoke coming out of his nose or something like that, maybe it would have just like give it a little bit more.
As you say, it was definitely missing like the sort of pizzazz, if you will, of the Warcraft character.
It needs a little more flair.
Yeah.
I will say though, I played that character for about a month and then was like,
really?
nope, going back to my undead priest. No more cow people. But Rob was also selected to pick first.
I know.
So I'm like, if you were gonna pick first,
I'm gonna be honest with you. Looking at all of the options that they had, that would have been my absolute last choice.
Yeah.
So I don't know why Rob picked that.
Rob went. Yeah, he went full cow person right off the bat.
Because that big hunched cowl is the biggest thing on that character, and he did not have it.
No.
And they didn't even look at it. Did you really look at it? No, they didn't.
Yeah.
They just looked at the nose.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
It just became one of those that you could tell that there just wasn't enough frame of reference.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
But for somebody, and still props to Rob to say, this is my worst case scenario, and the judges go, then we want to see your best case scenario because this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And, to even be kind of taken aback by that yourself.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Congrats, Rob.
Yeah. Congrats on being so talented technically that you could make something that is not even really from the game like it's supposed to be and still have us go, maybe we can change the script.
Yeah.
We can maybe change the movie to make it fit. We like the character.
Yep, definitely.
Now, Walter, however, he just brought this character to life. Yeah. Walter blew me away this challenge.
I totally agree.
Oh my gosh, it was insane. So he had the Draenei,
yes,
which is this weird creature, but he not only picked the race, he did the class too. We wanted to make it a Death Knight.
He did. Yeah, he was very adamant about that.
So cool.
See, where I think Walter triumphed over Mel was that Walter did exactly what they asked them to do in this challenge. Because the idea behind the film, as we were discussing a little bit earlier, is that they're kind of scaling back the cartoonishness of the characters and bringing them more into the real world. So what Mel created looked exactly like what you see in the game.
Yeah.
What Walter created looked just like what you see in the game, but he, just grounded it a little bit more. And plus the sheer amount of work that he put into this, making all of the tentacles that are dangling out of the Draenei's face and like the tail. I mean,
the tail, it's sort of like the tail. I love the tail. It was great. He would just turn around. I was like, oh my God, there's a tail?
Yep.
I know he was trying it before, so it looked great, but everything together, I mean, let's not forget how great this guy works with any single character that's given to him.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a female, if it's a male, and he has this amazing, like, effortless chic about him, where he just, whatever he touches, she just has plenty of time. Like Neville said, I have time. What am I going to do next? I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
He was great.
What else should I do on this character? Yeah, because Kerstin, you were talking to me a little bit before the show about how much you personally really enjoyed working with Walter.
I loved it because he's one of those artists that you just want to work with. Alone, what he created tonight is something that me as an actress or performer, I want to jump into and say, okay, I want to act it out because I know I will feel comfortable. I can do anything I want with it. I can probably even remember my lines, you know? Because sometimes when you're in that whole costume and character and that everything is coming together, it's so overwhelming at times, you know? But he always finds a way to always make it look real. Yeah. And that's what I love about him. Yeah. He's really one of my favorites. All times. Love you, Walter.
You worked with him. You were his Emerald
Empress.
Mm-hmm.
And alone how he started that was like, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do. All I know, she's green and she has emerald stones. And he just, I liked it a lot. Did I think he was like top? No. But he was perfect for Syfy. And it still, as a female, it made me look very like evil and almost witchy looking, so he was great. I love him.
Yeah, and you were saying that again, that there is sort of this calmness about him, so that when he is, you know, actually applying makeup on you, like you as the model don't feel anxious.
No. With him, never. Because he approaches you in a way of like, okay, I'm gonna put on the ball cap, I'm gonna prepare your face, I'm gonna do everything is like with so much patience. You know you wanna have him as an artist all the time. Yeah. Because you're just gonna vibe. That's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah. That's so cool when you have an artist that consistently makes amazing pieces.
Right.
But then also has just a great interaction with the people that he's working with. We've seen it from the models and from the other makeup artists. Yeah. Which I loved this week, seeing Mel tape him as he was playing with his tail. It's like, shake your tail, Walter.
It's so cute.
He's like, adorable. I feel a little silly, and I was like, don't, it's awesome. We love you.
Yeah, he's amazing. I really, really like him.
Yeah, he was great when he was on our show.
He was great. Yeah. He's the hammer of the episode, because in everybody's words, he nailed it.
Totally.
Just straight up. Like every judge this week was like, and just to summarize, you nailed it. It's perfect. I could get into all the detail, but nailed it.
I mean, that paint job was out of this world.
It out of this world and into the world of
Warcraft.
Warcraft.
It was so good. It was so amazing. Because again, he and Mel both executed these paint jobs where these people were blue and green respectively, and they looked like real skin to me.
And basing it out in white first is always, you know, it can go so wrong.
Yeah.
And having where he just built perfect, never made it muddy, did the airbrush veining, had all of it just spot on.
Yep. Did he use foam or silicone?
I'm not sure. I cannot remember what he said he cast it out of.
I know that the latex sheets with the batting though
was genius. That was so smart.
Whatever he used went seamlessly with that. So
that's what I think it was. You're right about that. I think he used foam originally, and then he went over with the latex.
Yeah. And you know, and again, in just a perfect example of somebody, you know, of Michael Westmore coming in and having a very specific, it's not even a criticism, it's a very specific like tweak to make it look like the tentacles are really truly just growing out of the face. And so he just moved, you know, the nasolabial folds up, and it made, I mean, it was perfect.
It was absolutely perfect. In the words of Rob Kaczynski, you did more than I thought anyone could do.
Yeah.
Which is why Walter got that big W. He's got the win. Woo!
Yes.
I really want to see him go into the finale.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Can't wait.
Because he's gotten 2 wins, but I feel like up until recently, he was kind of the underdog and was kind of overlooked a little bit because he would do really good makeups, but it would be ones that, would kind of fly under the radar just a little bit.
Yes, yeah, he was safe a lot.
Yeah. And then they were all consistently good, but it's like he's just the past few episodes is like, hey, by the way, don't forget, I'm also a genius.
Yeah.
Like, just incredible.
Yeah,
Well-deserved win.
Absolutely. 100%.
Well-deserved. So good. I can't even get over how good it is. I just want to go and play again just so I can play that class, just so I can be like,
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, a couple looks did fall a little bit flat, unfortunately.
Yes.
Walter, of course, big, huge fan. Melissa, huge fan.
No.
But unfortunately, just didn't have the time to execute as much as she wanted to do.
Yeah.
She had the Worgen, which is this cool race that I love. It's the werewolf creatures that were turned by this spell way back when. So now they've just become this whole sub-race.
Yeah.
And she immediately, when they revealed what each of the various races were that they could pick, was like, Morgan,
Yeah.
She was jumping up the roof. She was like, I want to have that. I want to have that. I want to have that. I was like, okay.
Which is funny because she picked last and it was still there. And she
still
ran
there.
to go get it. And I was like, you're last. No
But that's
one's
what
gonna take
I
it.
love that about her, because she always likes to work with female characters that are very strong and edgy. So that time I was a little bit surprised. It felt a little werewolf to me.
I mean, it's sort of it is kind of a werewolf race, but there is sort of a feline quality about it, I feel like, at the same time. And I think that some of it's just that very sort of cartoony, angular silhouette that they have.
Toy Story, maybe.
Yeah. And I just feel like, again, it was that you saw with Melissa, basically, that the emotional investment she had in this ultimately made her try to do too much. And so that's why she basically had a bunch of not quite finished pieces.
Yeah, which doesn't help too that she had her hands being molded for a big chunk.
Yeah.
So Mel ended up not using the hands that she was going to use that Melissa molded with her. So you got to cut her a break at some point. You see Mel molding, and where's Melissa? She's got her hands in a bucket waiting for them to set. So it's like, for someone who literally had no use of their hands for a large chunk of the challenge, still pretty impressive. But I love that she used her model to kind of help her too. And was like, okay, glue the paws to the flip-flops while I'm doing this.
But you see, that's something that we like to do as models, because we see them struggling with timing, and it's just like, oh my God, I'm just sitting in a chair. What I'm going to do? Like, I feel stupid, because you feel like you're being lazy,
useless,
but there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
So helping them glue things together is really like, gives you a good feeling of satisfaction, because I'm like, at least I'm doing something.
Yeah,
And
you're like,
I
I helped.
felt like I wanted to jump into the TV and be like, let me help you glue the toes. Like, please let me help you do that. Oh my God, poor thing. Poor thing.
Got to be weird for you too when you do have kind of an emotional attachment to these makeup artists, having worked with them.
Absolutely.
Do you ever have just moments where you just like, just anything, let me help?
Yes, but you have to be very careful how you're gonna tell them.
Yeah.
So you're not supposed to tell them anything in general,
right.
Because you just can't. But sometimes you're just so invested. I'm just like, no, please don't do that. No, I will not go there. But then you can't really say that, so you're trying to go around it, and you're like, maybe we should. Maybe wardrobe is different. Pick a different outfit,
Yeah.
Sometimes you're so concerned with the makeups that they completely forget about wardrobe.
Yeah.
And that makes a character too.
It does. It absolutely does. Have you ever had any like particular part of a makeup that you did get to help assist on that you can really remember? Be it like gluing something or braiding a wig or...
No, but all I remember is what I see myself doing all the time is, I think it's called capo patching, right? Yeah.
Oh, just like patching the molds.
Patching it. Yeah, patching it. Like, I'm patching queen. Like, I love doing it. And then you go with the air blow dryer on it,
Yeah,
It's like, it's really good. But, I mean, there's certain things you do help them with, like for example, with if the wig, you want to chop off a few things of the wig, a few
Right.
pieces, you make a few layers and stuff like that. Because the last 15 to 20 minutes, when it gets really tight, you don't even think about those things, you know, like only other people that are not working on the character see it in a different way.
Right, right.
So yeah.
That's I can't even imagine what it must be like just sitting in the chair for hours, like watching as you slowly become this mythical beast. That you're like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
That's actually really impressive, especially at the end when you see it on TV and you see the morphs, and I'm just like,
the morphs.
wow,
Yeah.
how can he do that? That's like so impressive to me all the time. Like I'm just like, what? And I show it to my mom sometimes because she's in Europe. And she's like, that's you? And I'm like, yes, Mom, that's me. And I'm so proud of it. And I'm being created in the ugliest human being you can imagine. But it's really, I really like it. I'm a big fan of the show.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, Melissa, she had a great character, though.
She did. She really did.
I love that Rob Kaczynski points it out, where he's like, you know, even though she clearly didn't have time, she doesn't have a fully finished character. It's lacking some of the details. This one is the most complete character overall, and looks most like it has all of the elements from the game.
Yeah.
So, you know, I understand when they say dial it back a little bit, but when your character has tells that are so important, like the feet and the hands,
Right.
and, you know, adding all of those elements, even having the hands break at various points and having to go in and fix them, and imagine various points just wanting to scrap it and say, you know, forget about it. Overall, I'm glad that she tried to do all of the elements, because I would have been kind of sad seeing not an entire piece of it complete.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even if it lacked the little bit of the detail and structure. I wish they could have a show that's just called Face Off Redemptions.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you know, this was such a good concept. Take 4 days. You make it the way you want it. You do it again.
Yes.
And you do it how you want it to
we're gonna
be.
give you an assistant.
Yeah. You're not just gonna have to have your model blow
their
dry
flip-flops.
themselves and glue their feet on. I would love to see if Melissa had more time, what she could have done with this one.
I agree. And I think that, yes, it was a bottom look just based on the technical execution of what everybody else did this week. But it would have been absolutely tragic if she went home.
Oh.
And on top of that, in terms of the bottom looks, I really do feel hers was a lot better than the look that ultimately did get sent home.
And that's in the chat. Kim Lechman, shout out, hello,
Yay.
was saying that she was really scared that Melissa was going to go home this week, but was so excited she was safe. And Alan Rages said it's hard to choose between Melissa and Yvonne.
I know, because they both, and I mean, that's the thing, is you can't help at this point but look back on everyone's entire body of work, and both Yvonne and Melissa have had so many like really, really wonderful makeups in the past. And I mean, and I was saying to Kerstin when we were watching the show before, it was like, at this point, I love all of these artists, so I'm going to be sad no matter who goes home.
Yeah, when it gets down to these very, very last episodes, you're just like, come on, just let everyone win.
But you know what's funny though? I always see this happening. I've been on the show since season 5 now.
Yeah.
When it comes to episode 10 or 11, or is it 9? I don't remember 100%.
It depends on if the judges have an immunity that season or not.
They usually make their worst choices of characters. And then it seems to, maybe episode 11 or 10, they seem to get that second wind.
Yeah.
And then it just gets better and better and better.
And just everyone's makeups are amazing from then on out.
It's always that episode 9 or 10 where you just like, girl,
it's starting to drag.
Done better.
No, I think part of that too, you don't think about how long they've been away from their family. And I love this episode that we do get to see Yvonne talking about, you know, her boyfriend Chris back home, her family. She's starting to get a little homesick.
Yeah.
And she's feeling like that might be weighing on her a little bit. I do feel like they just threw that in there to be like, hey,
I know,
we have to send her home. We know you don't want her to go home. We don't either. Let's just
remember she has a nice family to go home to.
That's true, yeah.
So unfortunately, her goblin just did not really come together the way that she wanted. This one I felt was probably going to be bottom look. Melissa even said that she knew she was going to be bottom looks. I feel like Yvonne didn't think she was going to be.
I don't think she knew until they were in, last looks. And that was when she realized it had gone horribly, terribly wrong.
But it seemed to me, too, just as somebody who plays the game, and the goblins are these characters that you interact with a lot.
Yeah.
Because they, you don't really play as a goblin normally. You just go and interact with these goblins.
Yeah.
They are a really fun character.
Yeah, they're super fun.
Yeah, they're kind of goofy, and the girls are really adorable.
Yeah,
and
but I think
the
she
guys
nailed
are very...
that. I kind of, you see, if I have to choose this, and I'm sorry, Melissa.
Oh.
I'm sorry. But tonight, I really liked Yvonne's. I really liked the way her model was. I liked the way she performed. It had that funny feeling to it. And I didn't mind the paint job so much.
Yeah, see, I didn't like the paint job.
Pea soup green.
I kind of agreed with V on that. I know V can be a little harsh sometimes, but no, I thought the paint job looked muddy, and the incorporation of the wig really bothered me. I think, Elena, am coming at it from the same perspective you are, of like, the goblins are like the girl goblins are so cute. They're so cute. They're so fun. They have colorful hair. I wanted
and you
that.
watch them drink and little sparkles come up and they like hiccup and they're adorable and it's funny.
I wanted that.
And I feel like that was reiterated a couple times to her, was that the genders in these are very specific. And she kind of made more of a masculine character on the female and blended the genders.
Because I think that she was thinking too much about grounding it in reality.
Yeah.
Whereas Mel was like, I'm just going to make what I see.
Yeah.
But don't you think at the end, like, forgive me, who was the guy who came in at the first time and gave him a little bit of a history about
Chris Robinson?
Chris Robinson.
He kind of told her, either you stay female or you stay a male.
Yeah.
But she decided to go like, oh, maybe I should do a little both.
Well, because she felt like the female goblins were too,
comedy maybe?
Yeah, and I don't know that comedy is... They
just weren't real enough.
Yeah, they weren't real enough. Exactly. They were a little too vivid and cartoony.
Which, ironically, that was the main criticism, was that her paint job was too synthetic.
Yeah.
With the extra glaze
so shiny.
And the shine. Yeah, it was that it ended up, her paint job went against what she wanted.
I agree.
And because she made a very realistic character, but then an unrealistic skin texture, then it was a discrepancy that
I agree.
Ultimately at this point in the challenge had to send her home. But in the chat, everybody is saying how much they love her and how her evil sorceress character was one of their favorites.
Yeah.
So you will be missed, Yvonne. We love you.
We love you, baby.
And still pretty dadgum good character to go home on.
Yeah, I know that the judges had a problem with how giant the ears were, but I think that if she had, gone for that super fun goblin thing and didn't try to bring it into reality at all, if she'd just gone the Mel route and just added the sparkle and the fun, I think the ears would have been totally appropriate, and that could have totally saved this look. So
it was just a little rounder too, I think.
Yeah, it was just a couple areas where she went awry, and then ultimately the paint job was
cute were the teeth.
The teeth, yes.
I love the teeth.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up here, I want to talk a little bit to you about what you've been up to lately. I know you are all over the map, coming from Austria to Italy to New York, and now we get to steal you here in LA.
I'm glad you said Austria, because I always feel like a little Schwarzenegger here. Trust me, I'll be back. Yeah. Yes, I've been all over the place, and thank God. I mean, I started very young. My first destination was Miami, New York. New York, I was there for 5 years. I graduated from the New York Film Academy. I studied there for 3 years.
Nice.
And then I just went straight to LA. That's where TV is, that's where film is, and that's where I wanted to be.
And you've been a model for not only major brands, but also major shows, not just Face Off, Project Runway.
I've done Project Runway, and for some reason it was always season 9 that was the most impressive, because Project Runway was season 9, the one that I was on.
Right.
And season 9 was the one on Face Off where I think it was Nora who won.
Yes, it was Nora.
Great movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved that whole season. That was so great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everything together, I'm really like thankful and really blessed. And it always says, if you just work hard and try to push yourself, even if you have an accent, it works, and it really pays off, you know. And I'm thankful.
Now, you've been some amazing characters on the show. If you could have any dream challenge to have for the Face Off artist that you would model, what would you want?
I'm dying to say that. Plastic surgery gone wrong. I would love that.
You thought about this.
I did, because I always want to see a little bit more sexiness, a little bit more femininity, and not always so harsh and masculine, but that's what, you know, monster creatures.
Yeah, a lot of special effects makeup is.
But I would love to see that sometimes, like really bad plastic surgery gone wrong.
Like, it was like Kelly's creepy woman in the green dress, remember?
Yes.
I think Nelly was the model, and she was like cutting her tongue.
Yep. Slicing it.
Yes.
Blood dripping out.
Yeah. No, I agree. More challenges like that.
Oh,
That'd
you
be
know, there
fun.
was this great challenge once. I don't remember what season it was on. I had this huge tongue hanging out. And when Neville touched the tongue, you just felt like KY chili coming down. It was really great.
That would be a good
awesome.
one. Everyone in the chat thinks the exact word is OMG. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So I agree,
Great.
Kim.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really, really good challenge. That's cool.
I'd like to see more lady-focused challenges.
Yes, thank you. Me too. I would love that.
I'm excited about next week's. It's going to be Skull Island taking these King Kong characters as if they evolved into kind of more humanoid creatures.
That's going to be amazing.
That'll be an interesting one to see how they make them realistic, but also very fantasy.
Yeah.
I always love challenges like this one where it's like basically do the impossible.
Yeah,
Take
exactly.
this creature that doesn't really exist and make us feel like it could be walking down the street.
Yeah.
So I'm interested
We'll
to
see.
see.
Face Off likes to do.
Exactly.
Now, in the meantime, where can we find more from you and keep up with everything that you're doing?
I mean, follow me on Instagram. It's Kerstin Lechner 100. And also my Facebook, same thing. I'm not a Twitter fan. I'm sorry, guys. But Instagram is my stuff. Follow me, and yeah, can't wait to see you guys.
Thank you so much for being here this week, too.
Thank you.
You were awesome.
Thank you.
And you can find me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe, particularly on Twitter, because I am the opposite of Kerstin, and I love Twitter, and I tweet all the time. So if you follow me on Twitter, you will know about all the awesome things that I'm doing, the many shows I do here at AfterBuzz TV, as well as all of my various other endeavors around Los Angeles and other parts of the United States.
And you can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan, ALANAJORDAN, and on Instagram at That Alana Jordan Girl. And you can always tweet at us, let us know what you think about the episodes using that hashtag ABTVFaceOff. We'll see you guys right back here next week. Thank you.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
For the Horde!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.